Morris's greatest inspiration was nature, always. I mean, his work, it really kind of, one only has to look into his patterns to see that it's a very, very deep feeling for what's in those patterns that Morris has that enables him to produce such interesting and original work. When it came to Kelmscott, he was very, very keen. By the time they took the house, he realised that this was going to be his main opportunity to spend time in nature. I mean, he had by this time, a very, very busy life in London running the firm. And really, the trips to Kelmscott were his only opportunity to recover from the stresses and strains of running the business. And certainly in the 70s, they were really quite severe. But also his chance to actually get into nature. It's interesting, he was never someone to sit in a field and do a drawing. I mean, he was not interested in that at all, whereas May certainly did sketch from nature. Morris's imagination was an enormous important part of the way he translated nature. So he was certainly, all the time he was in the countryside, he was looking at what was around him. And almost by osmosis, they appear in his textiles afterwards. There's a kind of a wonderful feeling in all of the patterns, particularly the printed patterns, where you have kind of layering of background and foreground. You're actually seeing through Morris's eyes the countryside and the garden. And of course, Morris was much more interested in the hedgerows than he was in formal gardens. So again, this layering where you have background patterns of willow, you're seeing the willow trees against various hedgerows, and then you see the eyebright and the tulips and things coming to the fore. So it's extra imaginative look at what he was seeing when he went to Kelmscott. Again, he didn't deliberately do any designing there, but I mean, certainly we know that the willow bough wallpaper was produced there. May mentions going on a walk with him one morning, and he literally came back, sat down and drew that straight off, and obviously it's from the willows outside the manor. It's kind of very evocative, very kind of interesting, lively design, because although it's completely static in its patterning, it does have a kind of movement that you get through willow boughs and things. So the peace and the tranquility helped him to enjoy his nature more and more and more. And it was only really when he got to Kelmscott that he could do that.